Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for attending today's Learning Views webinar series sponsored by TrainingPros and Harrisburg University. This is Steve Capon. I'm the president of TrainingPros, and my team has asked me to kick off today's Learning Views webinar. This is the third in a three-part series on gamification and learner engagement. I want to thank our partners at Harrisburg University for hosting this webinar and partnering with TrainingPros. TrainingPros is the leading provider of contract learning and development talent in the United States. We provide organizations the talent that they need to design, develop, and deliver learning solutions to their organizations when they don't have the internal capacity or expertise. We work with clients and provide them with instructional designers, technical communicators, e-learning developers, as well as trainers, facilitators, OD consultants. Our clients work with local relationship managers who are from the learning and development industry, and they invest in learning our clients' business. They know the local consultants, and they're really good at providing the right talent the first time to our clients. TrainingPros and Harrisburg University are partnering on the Learning Views webinar series because we want to share the latest industry trends that we're observing with our clients and through the research that Harrisburg University does in the learning technology space. Harrisburg University provides a master's level program to professionals who want to or need to pursue an advanced degree in the learning technologies area. Harrisburg University translates the latest developments in learning technologies into a master's program for professionals responsible for building skills and capabilities in corporate organizations. Harrisburg University also provides students with leading-edge approaches and skills to help them apply existing and emerging learning technologies in a variety of learning environments. So today's program, we are going to be exploring learner activity within the context of alternate reality games, also known as ARGs. ARGs combine real-world experience with fictional clues, puzzles, and communication in a collaborative game format. The story-based and problem-based experience promotes the use of online resources, collaboration among game players, and critical thinking related to storyline and the problem-based activities. So today's presenters are Charles Palmer and Andy Petrosky. Charles is the Executive Director of the Center for Advanced Entertainment and Learning Technologies at Harrisburg University, and Andy Petrosky is an Advanced Instructional Design, Curriculum Design, and Serious Games and Emerging Technologies Business Leader. So with that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Charles and Andy and listen in and learn something about learner interactivity. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a great today's event.
Thank you, Steve. And thanks to everyone else for joining us today. My name is Charles Palmer, and I'm going to kick off the beginning of our presentation. I want to welcome you to our third installment of the series, and I hope you have a chance to sit back and enjoy and learn a little bit about how we make use of alternate reality games as training platforms. Again, I'm Charles Palmer. I'm the Executive Director for our Center of Advanced Entertainment and Learning Technologies. And when I'm not doing that, I'm also managing or running our interactive media program. There are a couple of ways to get in contact with me, and I'll be sharing some similar information. And as always, this webinar will be available on the TrainingPros website, as well as our SlideShare accounts. We'll always also keep copies of the slides as well. So I'll hand it over to Andy.
And I am a senior new product development consultant at Harrisburg University. That's my current role. Previously worked at HU in the Learning Technologies Master of Science program that Steve was talking about in his introduction. Currently, as a new product development consultant, I work on delivering educational solutions in new formats to new markets for the university. And overall, I have 19 years of experience as an instructional technologist, including experience as a serious games and alternate reality game designer with my cohort in crime, Charles. So as he mentioned, there's some information on the screen about how to get in touch with me. In addition, just to encourage some participation throughout the webinar, there are 2 areas. We have some planned activities as well as 2 areas where you can communicate throughout our time together today. At the bottom is below the presentation space is the text chat, and some of you have already been chatting there around your location that you're attending from or other notes of interest. And there's also a Q&A pod over on the left side below the attendees list, and that's a space where you can park questions that you don't want to have get lost in the text chat stream, or questions that are a little lengthier or maybe a little bit more involved. We'll be monitoring both spaces and certainly addressing those questions throughout, and we encourage your participation. It's an important part of today's session. So much of what we're going to discuss today is from our recently released book on alternate reality games for training, called Alternate Reality Games Gamification for Performance. If you like what you experienced today, you can buy the book on Amazon, visit the book site for extras, and the URL is up on the screen there, and certainly connect with us through the book Twitter feed and Facebook page as well. So certainly encourage you to check that out, and if you do buy the book, certainly get back in touch with us and let us know your thoughts or questions that you have around that. Now, we'll also be connecting the concepts from alternate reality games and from the book to general training strategies and general instructional design strategies throughout also. So we'll try to keep it general as well as diving into some specifics around alternate reality games. We asked you to note your reason for attending the webinar when you registered. This list is a summary of the types of answers that were provided by everyone who registered for the webinar. So the interest today is mainly general and ranges from general interest about gamification and alternate reality games to some specific interest in learner and player activity strategies. So we'll certainly be addressing all of those interests and needs throughout the day. Certainly be sure to ask questions and comment in the chat throughout if there's something you'd like us to explore that we're not hitting on, and we can have those conversations that answer your specific questions and interests as well as we continue on here. So our goals for today are to explore levels of activity and interaction in e-learning and alternate reality games, look at specific interaction types and examples, identify some supporting technologies, and consider feedback mechanisms as a part of interactions. So before we get started with that, we do want to get a sense of your previous experience with alternate reality games, primarily based off of attending any of our webinars. So if you can complete the poll and let us know whether you attended any of the previous 2 webinars in this series, or if you haven't attended any of them. And if you haven't attended but have previous experience with alternate reality games, please type that in the text chat. And just give a moment here for folks to finish that poll. So we have a few returning attendees, and mostly folks who didn't attend. We do have some activity in the text chat here that should be showing up in a moment around hopefully experience with alternate reality games. The recordings of the previous sessions are available on the TrainingPros site. You can go out to the site and look for that information, I believe, under their resources section, or if you do a search on TrainingPros Learning Views webinars, you can find those that page, and they are listed in the they're listed chronologically. So I think ours are the most recent webinars. So I believe all 3 of them will be at the top at this point. And I see that Jean got the check that we sent her, so she's wooting it up in the text chat and patting us on the back, and we appreciate that, Jean. All right, so thanks for participating in that poll. We'll have some others that are more focused on the content as we continue, but it's good for us to know that it's mostly newcomers today, our fan club, and then a few other returnees. So thanks so much, and I'm going to pass it back to Charles to kick us off with diving into things today.
Thanks, Andy. I think there is a slight delay, so I'll slow my presentation down a little bit. So starting off from the top, in our previous webinars, we introduced this concept of alternate reality games. Really not going to define that term in any great detail, but since so many of you have not seen the previous sessions, let me go ahead and give some description, some definition. And alternate reality games are not your typical computer or video games, although they do make use of electronic devices such as cell phones, computers, GPS-enabled handhelds to add game elements to an experience itself. But the games in an ARG can be anywhere. There are games that might take place on a website, through pencil and paper methods. You might be part of a game inside of a store or retail institution, even through recorded messages and printed material. These are all ways that you can engage in an alternate reality game. And then lastly, ARGs are not your typical role-playing game. Players normally join into an ARG functioning as